Alright, in this video, I'm going to be doing a tier list of every single Arrancar weapon currently in Type So. We've gotten a few new additions, so I thought, why not remake this video? I want to give a quick shout out to my friends Storm and Carl, who are both leaderboard players, for actually helping make this tier list. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright, the first weapon we got is Arrancar Object. This is the Keto weapon, of course. I'm going to put this in A tier. Arrancar Keto in of itself is obviously an S tier skill tree. It's brain dead, but the weapon isn't that crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously it's good. Obviously you can get some pretty decent true combos in with it, but Arrancar Keto in itself can kind of just work with anything, so I'm gonna put this into the A tier. Next thing we got is the Maram Masa, and this easily goes into S tier. All the Maram Masas right now are incredibly busted because they do like half a bar per hit, which is insane. Like, this needs a damage nerf ASAP. This is probably one of the most brain dead builds in the game right now, and it's probably gotten so overused that I would honestly consider this like a clone trooper weapon at this point, bro. Next thing we have is the Wonderwise, and this has had one of the biggest fall offs in Type So history. I'm gonna have to put this into probably like the C or B tier. In my opinion, you just have so much better options. I would say it's still somewhat viable, but the crit just isn't that consistent to land. Like, most people are gonna dash away before you can land it. You had like a consistent method of landing the crit, maybe it could be good, but even then I would just say like literally any other weapon above Wonderwise is better to use than it. Even then, I just wouldn't recommend running Wonderwise to anyone. I won't put it in D tier because it's still somewhat viable, but it's just not that good anymore. Next thing we got is Ulquiorra's Katana, and this will always be good. This goes straight into the A tier. Super fast crit, super good guard break. Maybe this could go like, you could argue for this being at like the bottom of A tier, just because I'm not gonna lie, if somebody's good enough at the game, or if they've played enough, they've fought this weapon so much that pairing the crit is really easy, so you're not going to get as much easy guard breaks as you normally would against somebody who isn't as sweaty, but that's kind of just... But like, the crit is still super fast, it's still good, it still does a good amount of damage, so I would still have to leave this right in the A tier. Next thing we got is the Arrancar Unstable Dummy's Guide to Haka weapon. I actually use this myself, and I use this quite frequently, I'm not going to lie. The crit isn't anything crazy, you can't really combo extend. However, if you pair this up with Flying Dragon, you actually get a pretty decent crit that does pretty much just free damage, especially in endgame scenarios when you're both low. This is a really nice weapon to just throw out. However, nonetheless, I'm still probably going to leave this in like low A tier or high B tier. I'm going to put this high B tier just because I know it does decent damage. However, landing this consistently is kind of annoying, and you kind of sell your combos because you're not going to be able to combo extend off of this. Siphon's Wrench easily goes into A tier. This is the medic support weapon. Obviously for 1v1s this isn't that good, but if you're playing a support build, this is easily the best weapon you can pick up. Arrancar bead weapon, I forgot what it's called. Dimensional shard weapon, yeah, Yamato. This probably high B tier, I'm not gonna lie. This weapon is true off of Spectre Step, so if you Spectre Step, feint, and pop this, I'm pretty sure it's fast enough to the point where it's true. However, you can't combo extend off of it unless you guard break, which most of the time you're not. And the M1s are decent, but like, yeah, I'm just not gonna lie, it's just not that good. This could go into S tier right now. It's probably gonna get nerfed, but basically the crit for the axe confirms Rising Swallow, which confirms Sonata Flow, so you can easily just put this in high A tier right now. However, guys, once that combo gets nerfed, this shit is going straight back down to D tier, but for now this goes high A tier just because it confirms Rising Swallow, which is really busted. This straight into D tier. I know the aerial crit is good, the ground crit isn't that good, the M1s are atrocious, so I just honestly wouldn't recommend using this. Even if you want to use the aerial crit, there's just so much better options that there's no reason to run this. Straight into D tier. Sarah Crusher is another weapon that ordinarily would probably go into like B tier, maybe like low A tier, but right now I would probably put this into like mid A tier just because is it Flying Dragon? Sarah Crusher crit is confirmed by Rising Sun. Okay, yeah, I just had to check the Trello for the name. So Rising Sun confirms the Sarah Crusher crit. It's a completely true combo, it does a lot of damage, and you can extend off of that as well. So for that reason, this easily goes into the A tier. And also, now that I think about it, something that I just realized, I'm not gonna lie, this crit could also have some decent true combos with Flying Dragon, because after you throw them away, you can Flying Dragon to them. Actually, no, it has too much M9 for that to be true. Never mind. Grimjaw Claws, I'm not gonna lie, this kind of fell off. I'm gonna just put this into C tier. I did run it a little bit when the Haka rework first came out. It wasn't terrible, but if I'm being completely honest, if you plan to use Haka, I would grab the Claws, or I would grab this, because yeah, this is just mid. Next thing we got is the Haribel's Dagger, and this isn't too bad. This can easily go into B tier. It's just like the definition of viable and mid. Like, it isn't bad, but it isn't that good, I'm not gonna lie. Like, decent weapon. If you enjoy the crit, then I would definitely recommend running it. You do also get 2 crits with this weapon, which is pretty decent. One thing that I do like to say about this weapon is the fact that the basic crit is really annoying to fight against because the beam is almost always guaranteed to hit. So if you really want to play weird, you can easily just spam the beam over and over again. However, if somebody's competent, they're going to be able to avoid it, and I'm pretty sure you can also get yourself punished off of it due to the high windup. So just be careful with this weapon. Piercer right now is apparently S tier. This is just because the crit does a lot of damage. It's a ranged crit as well, which is really annoying, especially in this game's meta where everybody just runs away and spams. My friend Carl actually used this to hit top 10 in ranked, so he wanted to put it in S tier. In my opinion, for most people, I would still probably just drop this into A tier. However, this is definitely a really good thing to look out for if you guys want a weapon and you don't know what you're. This is definitely a really good option right now to pick. I'm not gonna lie, the crit is just really busted and you get multiple variations of the crit, so just a really good weapon. Next thing we got is Hollow Burden, and this is a really good crit, but it kind of depends on the build you're using, because with certain builds it's not that good, while with other builds it's pretty busted. I'm gonna probably just put this into B tier for now. However, I could definitely see somebody arguing for this to be in A tier. This Spear, alright, in my personal opinion, this easily goes into A tier. This is just because the crit is impossible to parry and it ragdolls your opponent. So if you pair this up with the Tiger Resurrection and you grab Yako, you can literally just get true combos. And in my opinion, this is probably the best build in the entire game. But obviously, for most builds and for certain builds, you're not going to be able to get true combos off of it. So it's not going to go into S tier, like more Masa, which just works with anything. So I'm going to just leave this into the middle of A tier. This is a pretty decent weapon. Really annoying to fight against, and I really hope this weapon, it's probably not going to get nerfed, honestly. It's just a decent weapon. I want it to get nerfed though. I fucking hate fighting this weapon. Next thing we got is Blood Edge. Some people tell me this is brain dead and some people tell me this is trash. I'm just going to put this into B tier. It's viable. You get 2 crits. This was the first weapon in the game to actually have 2 crits. It's decent. I think there's definitely some techs with this that make it really good. Most people don't know those techs, and I don't think they work with every build, so I'm just going to leave this right into the B tier. Next thing we got is the Nelliel's Katana. This could be S tier, I'm not going to lie. I'll probably put this right below the Heat Piercer. Nelliel's Katana has a really nice crit. It has 2 variations. One where when you just normally tap it, it just performs a crit, and if you hold it, you actually dash your opponent, which is really nice. This is one of the modern day clone trooper builds. Like, people used to run Okiora's Katana, but Nelliel's has slowly started to replace the old Katana builds, so for that reason, easily a top of A tier. Crit does decent damage, really difficult to parry, and it's a really nice combo extender. Next thing we got is the dual axes. I forgot what this is called, but the crit for this is really nice, I'm not gonna lie. You can definitely get some decent combos off with the crit. The M1s aren't terrible, but again, Type Soul isn't really an M1 based game, so I'm not gonna judge that too much because it has slow range and pretty slow M1s, I'm not gonna lie. But once you land the crit, you're definitely going to be rewarded with it. I'm pretty sure you can confirm like Sonata flow off the crit. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, decent weapon. Ellipson, this is a pretty decent weapon. I've seen this a couple times. I don't think this has been nerfed, but like a while ago, this was like dominating the meta. Like, it was definitely one of the best weapons in the game. For now, I'm probably going to just leave this at the top of B tier because again, I don't really see it that much. It's kind of a niche weapon, but when you do see it, it is really annoying to fight against. The crit is very unique. But yeah, I'm just going to put this into B tier. I don't think you can actually combo extend off the crit. It's just free damage. So if there's any Ellipson players, comment below if this weapon's good or not. And I'll pin if it's like a good response. Verglas. Okay, this is honestly one of my favorite weapons, and I've been running this for a long time. Recently, people have started to pick up on how busted this weapon is. Basically, the crit animation is out of sync, so it's almost impossible to parry this. And when you do land this, you're able to confirm Sonata flow off of it. It's not completely true, it's like a 70% chance, but it's just really nice on Kendo builds. On other builds, it's decent as well. I can see this being really good with Haka. I can see this being really good with Keto and Speed. I don't know why I said Haka, but yeah, decent weapon. I'm probably going to put it below the Katana and the Keto weapon. Probably below Enforcer Axe as well, because this does not confirm Rising Swallow, and Rising Swallow is a lot better than Sonata, so Enforcer Axe is above this currently. This weapon, alright, I've literally... The last time I saw this was in the CC Battle Royale tournament, and it does a fuck ton of damage. I'm not gonna lie, this weapon is really annoying. You get 3 different criticals. They all do a ton of damage. I'm pretty sure they all guard break as well, and I'm pretty sure most of them combo extend, so this easily goes into the A tier. Would it be above Okiora's Katana? I'm probably gonna move this below the Katana because this is only really viable. Anyways, let me get back on topic. Heat Piercer, yeah, this I'll probably just put here. The crits are really spammy, really annoying to deal with, and if you fight somebody who's playing really weird, this weapon can be insanely overpowered. What is this called? Nelliel's Speer, I believe. Yeah, the crit is really busted. It's a range crit that guard breaks. You can get some true combos in with this. If you're playing Keto, this is easily probably one of the best weapons. I would honestly run this over the Keto weapon just because of how good it is. The main thing that makes this weapon so brain dead is just the fact that you can move stack with it. So the crit is a projectile. As the crit is firing, you can use another move simultaneously, and this allows you to create true combos that are really brain dead. I've fought this before. I've only fought one competent person that's used this, and I'm gonna be honest, it was probably the worst match of my life. This weapon, it's like, if people actually started to use this, it would honestly definitely catch a nerf. And I think it has caught some nerfs in the past, but it's always stayed pretty meta. It's similar to Kiyora's Katana, where like it's just always been good because of the way the crit is designed, right? This weapon kind of fell off, I'm not gonna lie. So I checked the Trello, and apparently in the Trello it says it still applies the cripple effect. However, the last time I used it, it didn't apply that crit effect. So I'm gonna just put this into the C tier. If I'm wrong and it does still apply the cripple effect, this could probably go into B tier, maybe low A tier. But even then, I just wouldn't recommend using this weapon right now. There's just so much better options. Actually, maybe, never mind. The crit is decent. The crit is decent, I'm not gonna lie. I gotta at least drop this right into the B tier. I'll probably put the claws a bit higher. Ellipson can go a bit lower. This weapon, the mythical weapon, this is really annoying to fight against. It also has some true combos. I'm gonna probably put this into B tier just for that. However, I'm gonna be honest, this weapon, the Neliel Speer, is just better for true combos than this, because the range crit for this can be kind of blocked. It's super delayed, and overall I would just recommend picking this up over this. However, actually, you know what, just because you get true combos, I'll still probably put this into the A tier. I'm not gonna lie, I know people don't run this anymore, but like, actually no, this crit doesn't even guard break. I just realized, never mind, this shit goes straight down here. The reason why this weapon is trash is because the range crit doesn't guard break. For obvious reasons, it shouldn't guard break, but like, yeah, that just makes the Neliel Speer a better option. This is just the Greatsword of Arrancar. I know it's literally a Greatsword, but it has the exact same crit as Soul Reaper Greatsword. This is a pretty solid pick. I remember medic players used to run this. I actually lost to a medic player running this. That was probably one of my first experiences with sweaty medic players. It was really annoying to deal with, so I'm gonna just put this into A tier. On normal builds, you definitely have better options, but if you're playing medic and you need a weapon with a short cooldown and a super spammable crit that does decent damage, this is a great option. Actually, that got gutted, didn't it? Maybe this could go down to like B tier, because medic in PvP isn't viable anymore. Now it's just actually a support class. Soul leg style, this is pretty decent. I'm gonna probably just put this into A tier. Honestly, matter of fact, I'm gonna put this into A tier as well, just because there is no other Haka gauntlets right now aside from these two, and these two are about the same in my opinion. The only reason these two are even A tier is just because they're Haka gauntlets, right? And there's no other good Arrancar Haka gauntlets to pick from. Just because I'm kind of downplaying these weapons doesn't mean that Haka is getting downplayed. Haka by itself, it's brain dead. It's just a weapon. Crits aren't that crazy, I'm not gonna lie. And finally, Tesson. Tesson is a rising star. So I'm pretty sure this weapon got shadow buffed apparently, because it has a lot less M lag than it used to. The M1s are super fast and difficult to parry, and it gives a fuck ton of soul style. So if you have ultra skills, this is really busted. I'm gonna probably put Tesson like around here, I think. Maybe this could be higher than this, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like Tesson is crazy right now in the game. It's probably gonna catch some nerfs, I'm not gonna lie, just because the M lag is crazy. The crit is basically unparryable, and if you have the right build, you can get some crazy true combos off with Tesson. Definitely a really annoying weapon to go against, especially when you're fighting someone competent. Low-key, I might drop this a bit below these two, because this gets a free Sonata Flow and this gets a free Rising Swallow. So yeah, here's my tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hopefully my reasons were enough to justify all of these placements. If I got anything wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments again, and I'll pin anybody who has an actual decent point. And yeah, have a wonderful day and goodbye.